Ladies and gentlemen, across America and around the globe, welcome to the AGN TCL Streaming News Network, home of America's good news to the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever in the world you happen to be. I'm Austin Miles with our future people, just plain people. She was a delightfully old-fashioned woman who wouldn't go out the front door of her house, even to pick up something quickly at the store without being properly dressed, with everything matching, shoes, purse, every hair in place, and she had great hair. She was not wealthy or a matron of society. She didn't have a lot of standing or influential connections. She didn't go for jewelry anyway, or makeup, or lipstick, or nail polish, since she had no desire to have or wear any worldly things or to appear worldly in any way. Yet she glowed wherever she went, and people were drawn to her. Providencia Silva was an unassuming black Puerto Rican woman who was a minister who served God and everybody she came in contact with. Above all, she was a woman of exceptional love, sincere, unconditional love for everyone she met, no matter who and what they were. One of her greatest joys was to be hospitable, cooking for her guests, serving them while ministering to them, feeding their souls as well as their bodies, and giving. If she had it, you needed it, you got it. And she verified her calling to the ministry by her conduct. She possessed impeccable ethics in everything that she did. She was born on April the 24th, 1915, in Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico. She would be the oldest of 8 children. Her mother died giving birth to her 9th child when Providencia was 2.5 years old. Life was difficult for her. She was very poor, so much so that she did not have shoes. Her feet would bleed as she walked over rocks and concrete. Her little brother, Julio, would take jobs where and when he could find them, and with the money he earned, would buy his little sister sandals for her tiny feet. She got very little schooling because you had to buy your school books, and if you were too poor to do that, you could not go to school. She moved to New York, where her father had relatives and found work. She began going to church and would get saved and marry the minister of that church, Marcelo Garcia. She felt called to be a missionary and went to Bible school combined with missionary school, which sharpened her reading skills. As she read the Bible, a deep theological intellect took place and root. Soon, she was preaching from the pulpits with sermons that were not fluff stuff, but blazing fire and brimstone that would make anyone think twice before rejecting salvation. Her messages were straight to the point, nothing in between. Mrs. Silva, a woman of great compassion who knew what suffering could be, found a calling to go out and minister to derelicts, drug addicts, alcoholics, and others who had fallen through the cracks or had been tossed away by their own families and society. Totally lost people whom nobody wanted, whom she felt compelled to share the gospel with. She was so compassionate that she would bring someone home that she had met out on the street who was a total mess. Bring him or her home, get them cleaned up, cook them something to eat, and bring them to the Lord, and get them into Teen Challenge to develop them. She had incredible grace. She went into rough New York areas but was never afraid. She had the Lord with her. This tiny woman who stood 4 feet 11 with Jesus in her heart became well known in New York for her work among the forgotten, becoming a mother figure to them. She began speaking at other churches and always had a powerful impact wherever she preached or worked. She was truly recognized as a woman of God. She could have conducted her entire ministry behind the pulpits of the most attractive churches, all of whom were anxious to secure her as her pastor. But she felt she had to be out where the people are, out on the streets or under bridges. She didn't care about comfort, riches, or fame. She only cared about serving Jesus. She had a genuine love for the forgotten on the streets of New York, just as Mother Teresa had a love for the forgotten on the streets of Bombay. And by the way, that comparison is an accurate one. Many of those she rescued from the street went on to become Christian workers, pastors, and missionaries. One tiny woman who came out of poverty to greatly affect the lives of everyone she met, whose seed of greatness was developed and touched everybody she met. Providencia Silva died this month at the age of 95 in Berkeley. I had the great honor to officiate at her funeral. People, just plain people. Really? Maybe not. Even with her humble beginnings, she ranked among the most extraordinary people that ever lived. Our cameraman is Tim Vaughn, editor Tim Vaughn Jr., floor director Shirley Miles, art and set director is Michelle Tripp. I'm Austin Miles. God bless you, and may all your prayers be answered. Amen.